Clarity. President Maithripala Sirisena to make a special statement on the Bond Commission report and its recommendations on Wednesday. Safeguarding nature. The use and the production of polythene less than 20 microns banned from today. A fine or a jail sentence awaits offenders. The race. 88 persons apprehended for various election-related offences. Identifying challenges. In the wake of new standards coming into play, tea brokers optimistic for a normal market in the new year amidst challenges. Joining us live across the country and from around the world. We wish you a peaceful, prosperous and a happy New Year. Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Ekanaika. People all over the world greeted the New Year with much celebration, with Sri Lanka too welcoming 2018 with renewed hope and excitement. For Buddhists, it became even more special as the first Poya Day of the year also happened to be the first day of the year. It'll lend much deeper spiritual meaning. At the same time, skies tonight will also let us see one of the most significant astronomical phenomena as this year's first supermoon is shining over us tonight.
It's a rare occasion when a new year starts with the first Poya Day of the year, the Durutu Poya. Special religious activities were carried out in all main religious places around the country to invoke blessings on the nation. Meanwhile, issuing a special message for the new year, President Maithripala Sirisena wished all citizens a happy, healthy and prosperous new year in which people would receive rich harvests from agricultural lands irrigated with the Murugahakanda reservoir. The President went on to say that the country needs to focus on achieving prioritized goals such as economic prosperity, stronger reconciliation in society and further shaping of positive image of the country in the international fora to achieve success. Meanwhile, in his special New Year message, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe spoke about the government's success in restoring political and social values in the country. The Premier said the government was successful in presenting Sri Lanka as a country that respects and recognizes human dignity, one in which all have access to social and political freedom. The opposition leader R. Sambandhan meanwhile made a special appeal to all political parties and leaders via his New Year message. He asked all to unite to find a lasting resolution to the long-standing national issue and pave a way for a better future for generations. Meanwhile, the first supermoon of the year as well as the month is shining over us tonight. We will witness the second supermoon on the 31st of January. The moon appears 30% brighter and 14% larger to the naked eye as it reaches for its closest distance 225,622 miles from the earth.
චන්ද්‍රයා පෘථිවියට ආසන්නම අවස්ථාවට පැමිණෙනවා අද අපේ වෙලාවෙන් අලුයම 3:00ට පමණ. අපිට එහි උපරිම තත්ත්වය බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ චන්ද්‍රයා බටහිර සිතිජයෙන් බැහැලා යන වෙලාවේ.
Meanwhile, 2018 was warmly welcomed all throughout the world today.
President Maithripala Sirisena announced today that he will make a special statement on the report and recommendations of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into the issuance of Treasury bonds. The relevant report was handed over to the head of state the day before yesterday. The statement will be delivered on Wednesday, the 3rd of January. The President made this announcement via his official Twitter account today.
Maithripala Sirisena appointed the Presidential Commission of Inquiry to investigate and inquire into the issuance of Treasury bonds on the 27th of January 2017 to probe the controversial transactions pertaining to Treasury bond issuances in 2015 and 2016. Supreme Court Justice K.T. Chitrasiri headed the three-member commission, which also included Supreme Court Justice Prasanna Jayawardena and retired Deputy Auditor General Velupille Kandasamy. The commission was assisted by the Criminal Investigation Department and a group of 10 attorneys from the Attorney General's Department, headed by Additional Solicitor General Dappula De Oliveira, was also appointed. The Commission of Inquiry commenced proceedings on the 6th of February and present Governor of Central Bank appeared before the commission as the first witness. Thereon, more than 60 witnesses appeared before the Commission over a period of 8 months, including officials of the Central Bank, high-profile government officials, the Auditor General Gamini Vijay Singha and the government printer Gangani Kalpana. A number of politicians of the governing party as well as the opposition, including parliamentarian Vasantha Samarasinghe, Bandula Gunawardena, D.W. Gunasekara, as well as former Minister Ravi Karunanayaka and Ministers Malik Samaravikrama and Kabi Hashim appeared before the Commission. The former Governor of Central Bank Arjuna Mahendran sat in the audience during the Commission's proceedings from the 21st of March. The Commission also recorded evidence from officials of Perpetual Treasuries Limited and the former Governor of the Central Bank Arjuna Mahendran. On the final day of Commission proceedings, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe appeared to clarify key information with the Commission. On the 17th of October 2017, the Commission formally concluded the recording of evidence in order to begin compiling its report. The report was handed over to President Maithripala Sirisena on the 30th of December 2017.
Meanwhile, several politicians expressed views on the report of the Commission of Inquiry into the issuance of bonds.
අද වාර්තාවක් කියන මං හිතන්නේ මහ පොත් තුනක් දැන් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා දැන් මේ වාර්තාව උස්කාවිද එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ වාර්තාව ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙයිද? මේක කවුද වැරදිකාරයා? කවුද නිවැරදිකාරයෝ? මේවා එළියට එන්න ඕන. හැබැයි අපි ඔක්කොම දන්නවා මේකට හවුල් මේ ආණ්ඩුව. මේ ආණ්ඩුව කවුද? මේ ආණ්ඩුව පිහිටවල තියෙන්නේ කවුද? එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය. මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහතාගේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය. අර පැත්තේ ඉඳලා ඡන්දේ පාවිච්චි කරන ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ. හා දෙමළ සන්ධානය.
පළවෙනි කාර්යය තමයි සුබාලුත් අවුරුද්දක් වේවා කියලා අර චූදිත හෙළිදරව් වෙලා තියෙන සියලු දෙනා වහාම අත්තරංගුවට ගැනීමේ ක්‍රියාවලිය කරලා ආදර්ශයක් පෙන්වීමේ කාර්යභාරය ජනාධිපතිතුමා පළවෙනි මංගල පියවර ලෙස මංගල අවුරුද්ද ගන්න වෙනවා.
එම කොමිෂන් සභාව වෙනුවෙන් වැය කරලා මේ රටේ මහජනයාගේ ධනය. ඒ නිසා සාධාරණ යුක්තිසහගත අයිතියක් තියෙනවා මේ රටේ මහජනයාට වාර්තාවේ සඳහන් වී තිබෙන තොරතුරු දැනගන්න. දෙවනුව තමයි නිර්දේශයන්ට අනුරූපී වන පරිදි නීතිපතිවරයාට යොමු කොට අදාළ චූදිතයන්ට දඬුවම් ලබා දීම සඳහා කටයුතු කළ යුතු තිබෙනවා. එසේ නැතුව කාලයේ වැලිතලා විසින් මෙය යටපත් වීමට ඉඩ නොදී යුතු තිබෙනවා.
The ban on production and usage of polythene sheets less than 20 microns in thickness comes into effect today across Sri Lanka. The Central Environmental Authority stated that raids on such users and producers will be conducted from today.
Research carried out globally confirmed that polythene less than 20 microns does not only harm the environment but also the health. Accordingly, many countries ban the usage and production of polythene less than 20 microns. Taking these facts into consideration, government decided to officially announce the ban on the 1st of September last year. After continuous requests made by Polythene Manufacturers Association, a grace period was granted until January 1st, 2018. Accordingly, the ban comes into effect today and offenders will be fined or sentenced to prison.
Lunch sheet, shopping bag.
Polythene products which fall under the HDP group such as lunch sheets, shopping bags has been prohibited. Lunch boxes made out of styrofoam will also fall under the ban. Accordingly, production and distribution and sale of such polythene products are completely prohibited. Offenders will be subject to a fine of 10,000 rupees or will be sentenced to prison for a period of not more than 2 years by court. As the first step, we will raid polythene factories.
With effect from today, using polythene-related decorations for national, religious, cultural and political occasions will be prohibited. Meanwhile, speaking to Derana, Polythene Manufacturers and Recyclers Association stated that productions will be carried out according to the rules and regulations imposed by the government.
Sri Lanka police say the number of arrests related to election law violations have increased to 88. Police confirmed that 49 arrests were made in connection to violations of election law, while 39 other arrests were made pertaining to violent behaviour. 10 persons have been arrested during the past 12-hour period from 6 p.m. last evening to 6 a.m. this morning. Among the arrested is a contestant representing the SLFP for the Wattegama Urban Council.
Police arrested 2 supporters of an election candidate representing Sri Lanka Muslim Congress in Puttlam who were pasting posters in public places. Police also took over 200 election posters into custody. Meanwhile, an unidentified group of individuals have attacked the residence of a female election candidate representing the UPFA in Tangol. Meanwhile, police investigations have commenced regarding vandalizing election posters and banners in the JVP election office in Dambulla. Meanwhile, former president declared open the election office for Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna in Tangol today.
The Satyagraha launched by the employees of the Magampura port in Hambantota continued for a 42nd day today. Meanwhile, the Chinese flag was hoisted for the first time in the port premises since the port lease agreement was signed with a Chinese company. With that story, let's take a look at some other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Employees of the Magampura port launched a Satyagraha recently, demanding the government to absorb them as permanent cadre of Sri Lanka Ports Authority. The Satyagraha was held for the 42nd consecutive day today. Employees of Sri Lanka Transport Board in the northern province refrained from service today in protest of the closure of the SLTB bus depot in Vaunia. Following a court order, the old depot was shut down by the municipal council together with police of Vaunia, as SLTB employees in Vaunia had refused to use the newly built bus stop in Vaunia. Construction of the new bus stop had cost 200 million rupees. Fire broke at a storeroom of a polythene factory located in Athidiya, Mount Lavinia this morning. No lives were harmed in the incident, but the cause of the fire remains unknown. The vicinity of the Haggala Botanical Garden was seen polluted due to dumping of polythene by visitors to the botanical gardens throughout the past days.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
As Sri Lanka begins to re-export agro products, including Ceylon tea, to the Russian market with the lifting of the temporary restrictions of Russia, tea brokers say that tea industry will face challenges in the second quarter of 2018. However, Managing Director of tea brokering firm Asia Siaka Commodities, Anil Cook, expressed optimism for a normal market condition in the coming month through settled prices and continued demand. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Exporters Association, Jayantha Karunaratne, told us that the quarantine standards laid out by Russia are unclear and therefore challenges may be posed going forward. The ban imposed by Russia, which came into effect on the 18th of December last year, was later lifted last Saturday.
Sri Lanka tea exports brought in $1,275.9 US in earnings between January to October 2017, a $218 million US increase compared to the same period of 2016. In 2016, earnings from tea exports was 12.4% from total export earnings, bringing in $1,269 million US to the country. Furthermore, the total volume of tea exported declined by 5.9% to 289 million kilograms due to lower production and lower demand in 2016 compared to 2015. When compared to 2015, the average export price of tea increased marginally by 0.6% to US $4.39 per kilogram in 2016. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka suffered a temporary restriction imposed on tea exports to Russia from the 18th to 30th of December after an insect known as the Capra beetle was found in the packaging of one consignment of tea. In light of the situation, negotiations between the Sri Lanka Tea Board delegation and the Russell Kosnatsor officials on the 25th of December resulted in Sri Lanka assuring that it would take stringent measures to further strengthen the current physiosanitary procedures to avoid any repetition. A team of technical experts from Russia are to visit Sri Lanka during this month to examine plant quarantine procedures in the island. First at 9 contacted key industry stakeholders to find out how the outlook for the tea industry will be with renewed expectation of standards.
The tea auction and the tea trade in general is looking forward with optimism to more normal market conditions that would guide the trade. But when one considers tea that moves through Russia to the other CIS states, its role is even greater. Now, the biggest challenge for us is how we adjust to other circumstances. The first is that the heightened awareness that impurities in tea and associated material can't be good for the brand Ceylon tea. It will be a challenging year, particularly in the second half, as the world supply slowly begins to increase and importing countries will be looking for prices to settle at a lower equilibrium.
Meanwhile, Chairman of Tea Exporters Association Jayanta Karunaratne pointed out that amidst challenges of exporting to volatile markets, Sri Lanka tea exporters are looking at venturing new markets.
The Russian ban has been lifted from the 30th of December, so we can start shipping now, but still the quarantine standards are not very clear, and we'll be sort of talking to the quarantine department tomorrow. We hope we will get a better, clear instructions this week for the quarantine standards we need to maintain. Sri Lanka tea exports mainly to some of the major volatile markets, Iran, Russia, Syria, Libya, are very volatile. Some are under sanctions. There are issues. So we have to be careful of those situations. And also maybe we are looking for try and get some new markets. It is not easy, but we are always focusing on the other markets where we are not so strong.
Value-added tax, or VAT as it's commonly known, has been introduced in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates for the first time. The 5% levy is being applied to the majority of goods and services, which includes petrol, diesel, food, clothes, utility bills and hotel rooms. But some outgoings have been made exempt from the tax or given a zero tax rating, including medical treatment, financial services and public transport. Gulf states have long attracted foreign workers with the promise of tax-free living, but governments want to increase revenue in the face of lower oil prices. The tax kicked in on the 1st of January in both countries. The UAE estimates that in the first year, VAT income will be around 12 billion dirhams.
Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Now, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has said a nuclear launch button is always on his table and warned the US it will never be able to start a war. In a televised New Year speech, he said the entire US was within region of North Korea nuclear powers, adding that this is reality and not a threat.
The United States will never be able to start a war against me and our country. The entire United States is within range of our nuclear weapons, and a nuclear button is always on my desk. This is reality, not a threat. This year, we should focus on mass-producing nuclear warheads and ballistic missiles for operational deployment.
North Korea tested intercontinental ballistic missile and conducted its 6th and most powerful nuclear test in September in defiance of international warnings and sanctions, raising fears of a new conflict on the Korean peninsula.
10 people have been killed overnight in anti-government protests sweeping Iran. At least 12 people have now died since protests began on Thursday.
Today, President Hassan Rouhani said the protests and criticism were an opportunity, not a threat. He said the country should work together to fix its economic problems. Rouhani had previously said that citizens were free to protest but not violently. US President Donald Trump continued his war words with Iran's leaders even today, posting a tweet saying the great Iranian people have been repressed for many years. They are hungry for food and freedom.
Now, Spain's Economy Minister Luis de Guindos has put the cost of the Catalan independence crisis at around €1 billion. He told Spanish radio that it was due to the slowdown in the Catalan economy after the unauthorized independence referendum on the 1st of October. Madrid's warning about economic damage were a big part of its campaign against Catalan separatists in last month's regional election. Stay tuned. Next up is sports.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Time for sports. Now, starting off with rugby, during the weekend encounters of the Rugby League 2017, Sri Lanka Navy registered victory over CHNFC by 3 points. Despite CHNFC leading the first half, a stellar second-half comeback by Navy helped them secure victory against CHNFC, beating the latter 27-24, largely thanks to a late penalty from Thilina Veerasinghe. Following the match, however, an intense situation arose between the two teams. In other matches, Havelock Sports Club won their battle 34-18 against Sri Lanka Army, while Kandy produced another masterclass with a massive 61-20 win over Sri Lanka Police. Now moving on to cricket, rain interrupted the second T20 match between New Zealand and West Indies with 11 overs remaining in the first innings. Colin Munro played a spellbinding knock-off 50 in just off 18 deliveries, joining the fastest half-centurions club.
Being invited to bat first, Colin Munro and Martin Guptill took positions to open the innings for the Kiwis. Guptill, however, failed to survive as he fell for just 2 runs. Following the dismissal of Guptill, Colin Munro was able to bring life to the innings, scoring a brilliant half-ton in just 18 balls. Munro, however, was dismissed for 66 runs. The match was cancelled due to weather interruptions during the 9th over of the New Zealand innings. The scoreboard marked 102 for the loss of 4 wickets at the end of play.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Now let's cross over to Shenla Fernando at the Other Derana Weather Centre with your forecast first evening edition.
Good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Tomorrow's temperatures will average at around 27 degrees Celsius in the coastal areas, hitting a high of 29 degrees in the west. A low pressure zone is expected to form over the southern half of the island and will gradually move towards the Uva region. Well, the sun will show much generosity to Jaffna, Mannar, Trincomalee and Anuradhapura as well as Batiklo. It will be an opposite scenario in Negombo, Galle and Matara as they can expect some wet weather. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your City by City forecast.
And that's it from First at 9 tonight. When you have time, make sure you connect with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/firstatnine. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter as well by logging on to twitter.com/firstatnine. Before we go, we'd like to show you the visuals of the visit of Crown Prince of Bhutan, Jigme Kheshir Wangchuk, accompanied by Queen Mother to the Ganga Ramya Temple. Thanks for watching, good night, and have a pleasant year ahead.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.